All right, welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super Card Game video, and man, I am exhausted. I just got back from the Dragon Ball Super Card Game North American Nationals for the 2022 year. So if you haven't been watching, hopefully you have. We got a lot. I was running the entire stream and the production and everything else like that with the help of course, Hayden, Giancarlo, Danny, on the mic, who all did really well. I did a whole thank you post and stuff like that. And again, special shout out to Theo, because I would not be able to have everything working without that guy. He was on site for all the AV stuff, but it was really cool as an event. I really enjoyed myself. I put 2 or 3 months into the stream, just planning it, designing it, among all the other things like my job and other events and things like that. But I really do hope that everyone had a really good time watching. I really appreciate the comments and the people who have reached out to say like, hey, the stream looks good, did a really good job and things like that. But that is enough for my spiel. But damn, over 1,100 viewers, man. It's pretty crazy actually. Plus we didn't even have the announcement for the digital client, which again, you can find it on Bandai's YouTube page, and as well as I'm going to do a video on it probably tomorrow or later this week. I do want to talk about all of the top 32 decks, so I don't want to waste any more time. Hayden did put all of this together already, but this is not finished, but I will link it in the description below. And by this time, he'll probably have all of the DBS Deck Planet links here. But we're going to take a look at the pictures and as well as what links that we have already. But if you didn't look at the top 32 that I posted before, we had 9 of these Crimson Gokus come out of nowhere. And I think coming out of nowhere is sort of like not completely true, right? I think, you know, all of the quote unquote good players, which all of them well-known players on, you know, good teams and playtesting teams, kind of play the same deck, which is pretty normal when you come into a national event, right? You like Crimson Goku, I think being at 9 is not surprising when you really break it down, of again, good players on good teams playing together and playtesting against the current format and what is good and what is not. And as well as just knowing that there's going to be a sea of red, like both Red Sin at 6 and Gogeta at 5 are the second most representative in the top cut. And I couldn't really tell you the leader breakdown. I'm not going to go through over 500 deck lists. I took a look at it and I said, no, I'm going to leave that to PBG. Shout out to them for the great event. But if anything, when you really see these two decks that sort of like you not so much of being handed, but you can spend a good week for both decks and just understand like, hey, wow, these are really good decks. I wouldn't say autopiloting, but they definitely lend themselves to each other, right? Like if you had Red Sin and let's say Trunks Vegeta in the same hands of a pilot, or the same pilot, who is not very experienced, I think they would have a better time with either Red Sin or Gogeta, right? It's not to say that it is more like easier to play. I think Gogeta is easy or harder to play than it is with Sin. There's a lot of sequencing when it comes down to the Gogeta. But when you really look at it and you're saying like, okay, we know that this is going to happen. What is the best route to take, and how do we end up in Top Cut to basically win the mirror? And how do we kind of predict what other people are going to be playing, or at least have a safety net for that? And that really comes down to just blue leaders. You look at the blue leaders and you're like, okay, what blue leader is going to be great? Gamma was a really good one as far as the pick goes. It won the EU Nationals, and you're like, wow, okay, well, do we want to play Gamma and play against the mirror, or do we want to play Gamma and maybe lose to these two decks, which is very possible in Gamma? Just really depends on how you stabilize, and it really depends on what kind of play you are and what kind of matchup experience you have between these two decks. Especially with Vegito, you can just get turn 3 budget Vegito and Gamma as well. But again, it just really depends on the pilot, and it really depends on who you're going against. I think with Crimson Goku, however, it is very much of a value based deck, right? It is like when we're going to take a look at all the decks, but when you really look at the decks, you're sort of like, wow, these decks don't really do too much. But when you start playing it and when you start looking at the text for it, when you start going against certain matchups and you really have very specific cards that do specific things, i.e., Duvall's deck and as well as Kantarsi's deck, you're not very surprised that it did well in a very long 9-round tournament with top 32 cut, right? It's not surprising. They just have answers for the good decks, the rogue decks just being able to filter and having its own game plan, and then some of the decks that we already knew about, like Gamma and as well as Vegito. All right, let's take a look at the winning list, which is Andrew Duvall's, the back-to-back champion. Kind of nuts, honestly, kind of nuts that he just rolled up into the next Nats and just started playing this deck and just ended up just winning. And the ratios for everything is actually kind of interesting for him. It's a lot of like, not so much 4 ofs for everything, but a lot of like 2 ofs and 3 ofs compared to like other lists. And I think that just like is probably the fact of he wants to play all of these good cards, but don't really want to see them all the time. And that's a normal thing in DBS, right? When we're talking about the Infiltrator, when we're talking about Realm of the Gods, we're talking about Goku Black, right? All of these cards do certain things and are very good cards, but you don't really want 4 of them. And especially in a deck that ends up drawing a card from your deck and as well as filtering out your Saiyans as well as your life, and then drawing 3 and untapping 1 and then basically drawing 2 on your capable of drawing 2 on your backside, you're going to see the cards no matter what. And especially in a 56 card deck, it seemed like every time that we put him on stream, he did end up seeing what he needed. So it's just very interesting. I think the real quick breakdown about these decks is that it sort of really leans itself to Pickle the Infiltrator of 2 things, right? This card does a lot, which is why I got bought out, where it's a deflect dual attacker, gains barrier, so it gets around counterplays, it gets around red hate, and it also has a second ability of getting pan, which draws you a card. Basically, you're not going to draw the pan again, and it has barrier, so it's also a target where you can do weird shenanigans with it. It gets protected by board wipes like Cell in the mirror and things like that, where you draw one, you replace itself, and you prevent yourself from drawing that card, of course, through Piccolo. And it's also a Saiyan target for your awakening. So, like, at the end of the day, it is just free Z energy or a free target for your leader to awaken through your drop, which is super important. We saw that in the finals where Duvall was really actively preventing Kantarsi from awakening as early as possible. I think that's the difference between one Crimson player to another, or a mirror to another, right? Like if this was a Gamma format, or at least like if we looked at Gamma as we are looking at Crimson Warrior, you would kind of approach the same type of way in that, right? So pretty crazy, right? I think the other choices where, again, Borgos in the main, where it's going to prevent like D magic and things like that. In the blue mirrors, we 2 main God Sealing, which I think is either for any rogue deck, some of the blue matchups. It's not so much of some of the red matchups. I can't really think of too many of those. Maybe the Vegito matchup will come about for this one. There are a few that like I said, like for something like Hyper Rush, would get hit by that. And that's in tandem with the Tapion, which I think is different from all of the other Crimson Warrior decks, where I think he said himself, like he plays it because it just doesn't die, right? It just simply does not die. Just have to make main, getting 5 markers as soon as he's played and being able to draw 1. That's all you really need to do. Like that, he just needs to get it alive to return any floodgates, anything else that really is the target for Trunks God Sealing. Golden Avenger in the main that's my shit right there, because honestly, this is just hits so much. It's barrier removal, it's counterplay removal, it is ending games type of removal, right? And you can do so many cool things with the Sensu Bean in the main, Dimension Magic, your leader effect, Kaioken Goku to untap all of your energy, and as well as Zeno. The split in Zeno and Vegeta is just awesome. Just having that utility to manipulate your energy to get to that baby golden adventure. You can go from like 2 or 3 energy to 5 pretty easily, or go to 5 and then go to 2 or 3 energy afterwards, using all of these effects. Pretty cool. Power claimed is just busted. It's a Shigesh for blue. I used to think this is activate main. Shout out to George. He's an idiot because he thought so too. But I clarified for him that your life is a 4 or less, which is really easy in this leader. Your leader is blue. You pay 3, and then you play the card. You bottom deck something, and you also have triple track and deflect. The other effect of 5 or less for the auto is really good. Just a simple, quick removal. And then Black Smoke in the main for Vegito and all of these other barrier threats, unison removal, especially Gamma. That's a huge thing as well. Shin for the red matchup. You have I don't think he sideboards one more, pretty much one ofs all across the board for everything. Their Hurrigan card, we really saw that. It just didn't play out too well on stream, and he said it himself that he was like, yeah, that wasn't it. And Pursuit of Power is interesting. I didn't really see this coming, but it makes sense because you can, I mean, I'm guessing, I'm actually not sure what it interacts with, because I'm trying to think, like if you had Pursuit of Power and then you're going against Trunks Vegeta and then you play like a Goku Black in the activate battle and then it gets rested. That's the only thing I can really think of. Or you even, no, Trunks Calamity is activate main. So I actually really don't know what the interaction for that one is if you're going for the permanent. This or the barrier removal is the only other thing I can really think of as well. Really cool. The Z deck is pretty normal. I mean, there were issues as far as Videl. I'm going to say it right now, that the issue on stream, we confirmed with the judge and as well as the players that it was during the battle. You can only have this during the battle with your leader, and there's no combo cards in your combo area, and you just place this from in your drop area from the linear leader card and use the combo from the drop. So yeah, we did confirm that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. 2 Dark Broly's in the overrealm slot is really cool. I love this tech. I love this this Z Awaken card for the longer games as well. Just so good. Beerus and Area Annihilator, it just does so much for you. It's not barrier removal when you're playing it or the auto, but it is barrier removal for the 2. And in this deck, like you can pay 4 pretty easily and be okay with it, especially if you're swinging 3 times, removing 3 things. Kami for the Yellow Kid Goku, Koitsukai for literally everything from Topo to the blue Topo in Gamma and things like that. So, and another Trunks God Sailing. Man, he is really showing that, like, hey, God Sailing is still a thing. You can still main it. So pretty cool. Really big shout out to Duval on his deck as well as his performance. So yeah, we don't have a DBS deck planet link for Marcus, but this is the second place, which I'm not going to go through every card for all of the Crimson decks. I mean, all my thoughts are pretty much on Duval's, so you can just go back to that. As far as the differences for Marcus in his main board, I think 2 or 3 things really pop out. The first thing is the Desperate Measures, which probably targets a good amount of things in this format. Probably like you can target Beerus. It only has barrier and not deflect. You can target any of the floodgates like Mecha Frieza. You can target again Gamma, any of those as well. The other really cool tech is going to be the Kakarot, Barrier of Fate, where you play it and then you can bottom deck it and you can grab some a 1-cost blue Saiyan from your drop, which can be Pan, which can be Videl for another negate. It can be Borgos. I don't think he main. Oh, Borgos. It's right there. The 3 Borgos in the main. So pretty awesome. But you can kind of keep doing that. So if they have their own barrier removal, you can just get it right back with Kakarot. 2 Unbreakable in the main. I think you kind of see that here and there as far as these Crimson decks, where basically you just combo with it, and then that's just another Saiyan in the drop to awaken. That's just like OG, Crimson from way back when Marcus played the deck. 4 God Sailing in the main, which is pretty sick. with the Majin Buu unison. I think the difference between the 4 and 3 cost unison with like Duval's and as well as his probably made a difference of like not spending that extra energy. There's like, at least on stream, it seems like there's like some awkward times where you didn't really want to tap 4, even though it costs technically 3. You just don't get that until the end of the turn. So yeah. So I think Majin Buu is still really good. It's just so many things have barrier and sort of get around Majin Buu right now. It is still kind of a broken card. Just the value that you get from a 20k double strike blocker that can remove and as well as draw your card and untap 1. Stupid. The other really cool tech, which man, we saw that in the finals. Just you gotta commit to paying the 2 and just go for it. Gohan is such a cool card. You can do so much with it, between your energy, between your leader to untap, between itself to untap. You can reswing with Beerus to remove another thing. You can reswing with Golden Avenger for the triple strike. You can do it again with Godly Spirit. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with that secret. And when you see it, especially early in the game, you can really kill pretty quickly. I think, like, just in my testing myself, like there's a lot of really cool just like kill conditions that you can just create by turn 3 with that card. So I can understand why he really wanted to play it. And then the sideboard, the only thing that really pops up is Begrudging Allies, which we didn't really see too much on stream, at least. I'm very curious to see if or to hear if that really played out for him. The second Champa, God Strike Beerus, and as well as the 2 Vegetas, which just really came into play. That's really cool. Oh, one other thing that I do like is that you can of course return everything from their hand or from their field back to their hand, and then you can play the Goku from the Z battle deck or the Z deck, and they have to bottom deck cards until they have 10. So I do love that interaction, and it's really cool. Congrats to both of them. All right, this is Musket, where he was the only yellow deck in Top Cut. I put a poll way back when, not really that when, like a couple weeks ago, to say like, hey, is yellow going to be in the finals? And he got really close. He got third. So like it was really close to get into the finals. Yellow's still doing yellow stuff in Trunks Vegeta though, right? The Trunks Vegeta, I've said it before, it's very consistent. It has Lord Slug. It stops a good amount of stuff, especially against like Gogeta. And the Secret Rare is just really good. You know, that's what it really comes down to. That's very consistent. Secret Rare is good. Mirror, Champa, and Stupid Oolong the pig it's just and Cooler is just a really deadly combination. What we all really liked is that he mainboarded the Sparking Super combo, simply because you're gonna get the Sparking because of 2 things, right? You combo a lot, you play Slug into the drop, you end up using things from your drop, so you're gonna get things into your drop because of the 1-drops in your leader effect, and Black Smoke, right? So if you're playing Black Smoke, or if you're going against Black Smoke, things are gonna get popped every so often, and two cards are gonna be guaranteed if they're gonna be the evolved targets here and there. Also, you have Bulma. I love Bulma. People like really shit on Bulma. I don't know why, but one of my original builds had Bulma in it, and it's just really good for consistency's sake. And we saw that a lot when he was on stream too. The sideboard looks pretty normal for yellow. This is interesting tech. Didn't really know what it was for, but it says choose up to this card in one of your bonus card energy costs of 3 or less. Return it, send it to the warp and then return it to negate the skills. So you get to play this from your hand. You can't have any copies as long as you have a Trunks feature. So that's really cool tech. I like that. That's quick removal. Really reminds me of the dragon card, the black dragon card that removes it for the turn. So I dig that. And this is Peter Katani's Red Sin deck. So the word on the street is that he didn't really use much of a Z deck. So pretty funny. Honestly, pretty funny getting up what, top 4, I think. Yeah, top 4. So that's really interesting. I mean, it's Red Sin, man. Like this was I mean, I've obviously talked about Red Sin before, and you know, I put it into the finals as far as the pick of the deck. So like if there weren't a sea of Crimson Gokus, you know, Red Sin is definitely the boy to really think about. There's so many good things about the deck where He's using the Unison variant of it. I don't think he's using red yellow, but he is using the Beerus simply for the draw, and as well as the draw at any life, and as well as the plus 5k, pretty much guaranteed, because you don't really play anything non-black in this deck, obviously because of the restriction. But you can play the surmounting, so there you go. And the only interesting things are two things. So this Golemite here, I believe, is that if you it's basically like not the Shin, but like the other gods, where you can KO something 30k power or less if your leader card is red and it's your turn. I do believe. And then we do have the Dispel as a counterattack. I think this gets played in Rest. I'll have to take a look at this. I believe it's this is the one where you do spirit boost and they can't attack something like your leader. Only 2 Broly Crown, which is very interesting. You know, in a blue format, which now makes sense with some of the text that Deval and Kantarsi had. You would think more and more Broly Crown were being used against these Crimson decks. Ultimate Dragon Quake. This is the one I talked about before, where basically it removes a threat, a big threat greater than their energy for the turn through activate main in battle, which is pretty sick. I actually really like this card. Other than that, pretty standard. The one of the GDR and the side deck looking pretty normal. Nothing that we haven't seen already. Barrier removal, blue hate, counterplay, Violet Rays. I'm not sure for what, because 30k or more, maybe Vegito. That's pretty much it. And after I mentioned, the GDRs are all there. Shout out to him. I mean, as I understand, he hasn't really played very much, and he was really killing it. So, yeah. The next 3 decks are what, 4 through 6, I believe, through 8. I don't know. It's one of those. This one's Joshua's, where it's another Crimson Goku deck. Like I said, I'm not really going to go through all of it, but maybe the text for it. I think the kind of main differences is that in the main board, he does have the 3D Huragon, which is pretty easy. You have Borgos, you have Piccolo, you have Pan that plays it out. All have barrier, and they can just kind of stick there and be fine. Where Huragon can come down for 3, and you can pop one of them to ramp one, so you can be closer to your Z Awaken as long as you have 3 or less life, which is pretty easy in this deck. And as well as your super combos, which he only has 1. I can't really tell. But I believe this is oh, there it is. The Zeno super combo. So 3 of those and 1 of the Vegeta. So I'm interested to see how he used the Huragon, because it only has 2 effects really that you can use it with this leader. It's just the 30k body, I believe, where you can wrap one after popping something, and as well as they can bottom deck a card when it swings. So I don't know. I'm very interested to hear what his thought process is on that. Surprised he didn't play more of the Ultra Instincts. That's usually where you want to draw and get around those double strike criticals with Diluge, especially against Sin. But oh well. Pretty standard for all the other stuff that we're saying. The striving to be the best is interesting because it prevents 2 or less from attacking. I don't know which actually would be targeted for that. But maybe it's just another barrier target. Interceptor is awesome. I like Interceptor a lot. I have this Goku here, and then Turning the Tide in the main too. So probably mostly different from most decks. Peel Off coming in hot too with Oceanus. Oceanus is probably a really good tech. It's just that I would imagine like people who like Vol are just God sealing those every day. Oh, and Dende for the Gamma matchup. It's probably what was very, very expected going into this tournament. All right, here's Marquise's, which, yeah, let's see. So we have all of this. Pretty much all of the same stuff that we've seen, 3 being the main. It's always 3 being, never 4. Too many, I guess. I mean, I made 2 in Gamma last time I played, but 4 of the Unbreakable. That's actually interesting. But it makes sense. You know, you effectively get the energy back with Leader Sling and get it back with Sensu Bean. You can demagine and get it back, that type of thing. So not too bad. And it's also saying that really helps you awaken on a consistent basis. This Bardock with the Spirit Boost thing is also interesting. He also mains the Tapion. So probably him and Deval were probably going back and forth with this. It's pretty similar decks, to be honest. And I guess the shout out to the Hurdagon here, cheering for the Turning the Tide. I don't know where you side this one in, but I guess blue matchup. I don't know. As long as they're not playing God Sailing. And then Shin, none in the main, and yeah, none in the main, just only the side. Cool. Final Hope Slash. Don't know what the target is for that, but people need to explain that one to me. And the cutting. I didn't talk about the cutting, but the cutting is very interesting because it hurts you and as well as the opponent. So pretty much an L for the cutting, but I'm sure it did work out for a lot of different ways. All right, here's first of all, Foss. This is probably my favorite deck out of all the Crimson ones, where basically he played a red blue variant with Catastrophic Blow. I remember this kind of version in Soul Striker because he beat my ass in a webcam event. So yeah, that was bad, but it was really cool. So shout out to him. He has the 4 Ultra Instinct, the Rival Seekers that get reduced, as well as that if it main is broken, the Sleepy Boy technique, and as well as again the Catastrophic Blows, which is at limit 1, just showing that burn along with Android 21 is still a thing and still around. Has the 4 Unbreakables, 4 of the Proudly Reclaimed. Again, pretty crazy. Oh, 3 Regulator. Didn't even notice that. I don't think we saw it in the stream game, unless I was not paying attention. I don't remember what the Harness Power does, but I believe it's in Archetype. Same thing with the Dell. So someone can tell me in the comments below all about that. 2 of the Black Smoke. I would imagine someone does cite in 1 more. There it is. And then one of the counters that can't be countered. Wow. Undying Sun Gohan to return something back to hand. I want to know if that played out well. Same thing for the Goku. That has deflect and all the other keywords. And I'd imagine that in this deck is pretty defensive. So I think this is a really good disruptor for unisons and as well as just defense in general. We have the Great Saiyaman as a blocker that restands, I do believe, after he gets it KOs something with because it has revenge. I don't know what the matchup for that is, but probably something that has barrier, or something just is annoying, or has a lot of attackers. I guess it has uses for a lot of different things. And then 1 more Beerus, which is just super good against a big boy red format, which I don't think he mains or any. Yeah, not maining any Beerus Destroy, at least from what I can see. Wow. All right, here's Eric Hills, Crimson Goku, which again, pretty identical to the other lists that we've seen. So not really much to talk about here. Really comes down to like sideboard text, which I don't think there's too many differences here. Pretty standard. It's just a really solid deck for answers for everything. I think that's why it's played and why it really came down to that. All right, finally the Gogeta decks, right? So Jonathan Peterson's. There's not really much to talk about Red Sin and Gogeta decks, I have to tell you. But I will point out a couple of things where he is playing these 3 cards, which is definitely a hit or miss for some people, right? So this is really enabled by the free 1 cost technically that you can play. If you don't want to combo with them, then that's no problem. Or you can play Broly Count from 1 and then play this guy on top, or yeah, pretty much on top, and then get rid of something 30k or less, which I suppose in like against Red Sin, pretty much anything, like even Gamma, like you can get rid of their cell pretty easily by doing that. So I think this card is really cool. Not so much slept on, but definitely underlooked or overlooked. We do have the Divine Presence, which again depends along with the Gogeta. Just really have to time both of these right. Like you can't be spending all your energy. You can tap out pretty easily in red, but you can't spend all your energy willy nilly. So you have to time these right correctly. When that is, don't know. You have to play the matchup, or you have to play the game. And then Android 21 or Android 20. What a crazy choice. But I guess you do get Z energy really quickly. So you really just need that 2 Z energy. I think that's probably the idea behind this. You can just have a 0-10 at any time. And then Beerus in the main, which is pretty sick. And then I guess this is the Z deck and the sideboard, which strategies, saw that coming. The cutting, probably need more than those. Meki Gabora, I'm not sure which for, but probably Omega, probably the Z battle card. Or not Z battle card, but the one that gets a bonus with the Z battle card, the A drop. Same thing for this as well. Kami for Yellow Kid Goku, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I can think of. Andrew Klinger's top 16 reboot Gotens. I'm not gonna talk about this too much. I will shout him out very much so, just simply because I love the Fatal Rivals. I love the Cell Max. Secret Rare is just the most annoying thing ever when you get it out early. And then what else? And it's just Gotens. You know, this is the only green deck in Top Cut. And in Swiss, or yeah, Top Cut and Swiss. Yeah, I guess it's the same thing. But go check out Eggman's top 16 video on that because he explains the whole thing. Here's Jared Lopez's. Are we really surprised at this point? We can't really keep letting him get away with this, right? I don't think like this is interesting as far as like the main board. Only one Bad Omen, is that right? Wow. Okay. Two of the untapped ones, which I was really surprised when he was playing that. One Kusu, which makes sense. Two of the Android 18 to get around some of the on-play stuff, probably the yellow matchup like we saw on the stream. Group leader peel-off in the main. People are just like so on group leader peel-off right now, huh? One of the Android 21s for the, where is it? The big boy effect, this guy right here. Probably really leaning on these the Zamasus. Not very, other than red. Like red is the only thing. Red is the only way to I guess Final Flash too, but red is the only thing that really gets rid of these guys. He's probably calming them out in that matchup. And then I guess this is the side deck. Kusu probably is for anything for more hand destruction, and as well as just really good at removal. Gets rid of the Goku Black on their turn, that type of thing. Or I don't think it gets rid of this guy as well, but probably anything that is semi-big and very annoying, and gets the bottom deck, both of them. This in the yellow matchup, and as well as anything annoying. I really can't think of anything else other than the yellow that really gets that this hurts right now. And then Android 15 is an interesting one. Is a kind of play that is basically for Gamma, but you can get it for Android, I believe, or you can just pay two. Two God Settings in the main, one in the side, and then the cutting. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Really good to see that he's still doing really well. One of the best players, just to play like one of three decks, honestly, and just do really well over and over again. All right, another Sin deck. This one is Wendy's, and this guy has Unison. So he has a Unison, mainboarding the Vegeta, which is just super good, and so many good cards in this game right now. 3 of the Omen Awakening. I wonder what this is for, because you don't just play 3 of these for no reason. You definitely play this at any point. You know what's interesting is that obviously you play the Unison variant, so you just use this. I guess for floodgates, that's the only thing I can really think of. Maybe Goku Black. I don't know. Just to prevent your Shenron getting bottom deck during the battle. That's the only thing I can think of. Plus, this is interesting because you can be at 8 life and having Unison out, you can just crit a life. It doesn't have a life restriction, which you don't really care about that in Red Sin, I don't think. Is that all you got in 3 of the Nimbus of Nimbus Voyager? Me and Isaiah were talking about this, where like in the Vegito matchup, this is the only like good card in red that actually kills the Patora, the polymorphic, I think, or the whatever, the Resolve Combine, where if they swing with it, you just play this and you just kill it. So just barrier removal, that's really what it is. And then Spirit Mentor is also very interesting. So all these 3 cards are wow. That's all I can say about that. Two Broly in the main, one in the side. I really don't want this to be an hour long, and it's getting pretty late already, or really long. Marcel and Javier were playing Red Sin and Crimson Goku, so there's not really too much to talk about there. I don't really want to keep beating a dead horse on it. But this is Daniel Dalby's. I said his last name wrong, sorry. But this is his Reboot Bears deck. It really leans onto probably the Whis to ramp itself, probably the best addition to the deck. This Whis to ramp itself as well, which, I mean, you can play this turn 1, and by turn 2, if they don't remove it, you basically just get that free energy, and you don't really care about anything else after that. You can play defensive through Beerus and as well as group leader peel off if you are going against something like Sin or whatever it may be in that early game. Especially if you're going first, like this going first is super annoying to deal with because you just end up going against another world blitz. You going against the 6-drop that, and then like 16 tapping 16 is super viable. Obviously, by turn 2 or 3, you get the Majin Buu out, which is also very annoying. Um, and then also Kale. Kale is in the main and one in the side. So for barrier removal and as well as just having another attacker. And it lends itself pretty well to some of the good Z battle cards that we've seen already. But awesome, great job by him. Next up is Teague Woodcocks, who ended up getting top 32. I think both Vegito decks did that. This is pretty much what I was thinking of. What I was gonna see if we were to see a Vegito deck, this is pretty much what I was see. I think where it really falls short is all the blue decks that are out and running out, right? So like they have answers for pretty much everything to go against the Vegito deck, and when Vegito kind of loses gas, it just doesn't feel good like in the late game basically. So you kind of need to you kind of need to figure out how to end the game between turn 3 or 4. If you can't, then you're just going to be playing against a 10 to 15 card hand against like Crimson Goku or something else, and that doesn't feel great, especially if your Resolve Combine gets removed, or if like through Black Smoke, or if you don't see enough of the 8-drops, or if you don't have any other separate win conditions, which Vegito again sort of struggles against, which is why I don't think there's too many in the top cut, but it end up 2 in the top cut through the 4-color one, which again Vegeta Future on the Line. It's really cool because you get to play this guy for 1. It is technically for red, so you can just play it, or you can charge it and then you can evolve it on top to get something removing barrier. Also, you can just play another Goku, like Fusion Synergy, swing with it, and then you can just go into Resolve Combine afterwards, and just do some shenanigans with that too. So that way you don't have to get in the Vegito only battle cards restriction through polymorphic. But really cool. Oolong in the side, I love it. Like if you're gonna play yellow, you're gonna play Oolong, and you're just gonna go and use it with the yellow and probably one of your 35-30Ks and swing with that through Almighty. I'm surprised he didn't play any Cell, like Cell over Rush Attack, but Rush Attack is more aggressive, so I guess that makes more sense. And then the sideboard with 2 Broly Crown. I feel like you main it, especially knowing the format now, but that's hindsight. So not too big of a deal. And only 1 Shin. I doubt you see that to the cutting, so that makes sense. But pretty cool. All right, this is Nick's BT6 Gogeta deck. So this is the Exodia deck that people are talking about. Basically, if you end up playing the 2-cost Z battle card, play the 8-cost video game Gogeta on top, and then basically you're just using everything to get and find the Super Saiyan 4 Broly secret rare to play it right after, and that basically turn 2 can either kill you or just ruin the game. So you have to draw a Black Smoke for it, you have to draw some sort of barrier removal, or you have to swing into it, which does not go well. I'm gonna have to let you know right now. And then yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the deck that was showcased before, and certainly not much to talk about. Strategies is a really good, but again, with Black Smoke and as well as other barrier removal, people just have to draw into the answer, and it just sort of fails from there. But really cool that he ended up in top 32. Is the only one in top 32 as well. And the deck is pretty nasty when you go against it. So awesome. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over the last 2 Gamma decks because I love them. This is Legends, Michael Carrick's deck. I don't think there are too many different things that we have to really kind of go over from what we've seen from like the EU finals, etc. We do see the Android 8 because it is searchable by these guys, and it's just a little bit better to draw instead of the bottom deck. And that's pretty much it. Do you have 3 Black Smoke in the main? I think that's a really good call, honestly, because you kind of figure out that like Black Smoke now is Saiyan Instincts, without comboing. And because they didn't do the 0/0, which is, I think that's the biggest mistake that they did. I mean, the whole card is kind of a mistake, to be honest, but this needed to be a 0/0. And it would have been on par with Saint Instincts, but because you can just tap 2 and just draw 2 figuratively, it's really good. I'm like, it's not that hard to get 7, especially in this Crimson Goku format. That's just the draw 2, and other effects are just really annoying, especially if you're going against the mirror. So you just win the mirror in the first game, and again, you just tap 2 and you get those energy pack right at the end of the turn with this leader. So really cool. Great call on him. Especially if he was expecting to go against a lot of Gamma, but he probably just ended up going against a lot of Crimson and some Red Sin and the Rogue deck here and there. Jiren again is the tech deck. What am I saying? The card tech of choice, along with Frieza. Cell got bumped down simply because of probably these 2 cards. I don't really see the value of having this, but I guess it's for the Gogeta matchup, just to bring it on parity with itself. And then Beerus and Area Annihilator is just really good in this deck because you just get all that energy back. And then Shin, etc. Okay, this is Isaiah's deck. Yeah, he's my teammate and all, and I love the boy, but this is a bad deck list. I just like, this is a couch, man. Like we haven't got the DVS deck planet link, but god damn, what are you doing, brother? Anyway, so he and I both went back and forth with this deck, and I wish he had a little bit more practice. I think he would have been obviously he topped, right? He did really well. He went X2, I think, and just overall, like it's a good deck, right? Just meaning 4 of these guys, the real one of the gods, through the Dirty Burst. He added in the Boo, and as well as the power unlocked Gohan for the effects, just as a floodgate. It's just really powerful. And then just kind of the normal stuff from the EU finals, from Big O notation, where we have the 18, the 8, and as well as the 14, as far as the changes go. And it's of course the power reclaimed, which is really good. I'm surprised he only made 2 of the 18s, but I guess you can do like 2 or 3 just as a cantrip, and be perfectly fine. And then yeah, the sideboard just is all over the place. I'm very surprised. I think he was supposed to main 2 of these Piccolos, but I think that was a last minute change, so I don't know what it came in for, if this is a sideboard. But this is for the mirror. This is for Yellow Gohan. This is for barrier removal, especially for Vegito and anything else. 2 being for probably Gogeta, another Dirty Burst for Gogeta, and etc. And as well as repeat off. So not too much of a difference for everything else. All right, last but not least is Tim Palacios with his Pan. Man, he just kills it. Absolutely kills it with Pan. As well as just tournament performance, right? Really cool stuff in this, from the Goku Trunks Vegeta card to, let's see, the Trunks Adventures Advent. I think it's a draw one, and then you can place it underneath something. So I'm really interested to see what that was for. 3 of the Topo, which is definitely a hit or miss, I would say, in this format, because like obviously it's a good amount of counter plays here and there, but we do have the Deluge, and as well as a Beerus to say like, hey, I'm gonna awaken through my Z energy, be at 6, and then I'm just gonna swing with everything else, and hopefully you die. The Gohan's sick because you get that Z energy effect. I don't think he's gonna be playing the other effects as well, but I could be wrong. Again, 3 of these guys and 3 of these guys is gonna be the move. Don't know where the Videl came into, but she's an interesting card at least. Fire the Grand Eagle, probably for I'm not sure. Maybe if like a Gogeta player taps out, and then they're gonna be Z Awakening. That's the only thing I can really think of. But yeah, Chain Attack Trunks and Zeno. What a beast. What an absolute beast. Look at that guy with the sideboard card here. And Catal. Catal is really cool. I really like Catal. Yeah, really awesome. Happy for him. Always happy for him to perform, and can't wait to see what he does this upcoming next year. All right, everybody. I'm not going to continue because most of these decks are pretty much the same. I hate to say it. If I didn't go over your deck, I am sorry. I am not going to have an hour and a half long uh, video. I rather do like a live stream if I had to do that, and maybe like people can tell me more information that I'm not seeing. But I am happy overall for the event, and happy for everyone who topped. Happy for my teammates, and just let me know what you think in the comments below. I will link the spreadsheet so that way you don't have to listen to all of me and go through all these decks. I'll see you in the next one.